Welcome to the Success Partner Podcast. I'm Daya Naef, your host and founder of The Success Partner. On this show, we dive into the stories of attorneys, business professionals, and entrepreneurs who have navigated the ups and downs of building successful careers and businesses. From the strategies they've implemented to the challenges they've overcome, we're here to uncover the insights that can help you on your own journey to success. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Welcome back, everybody, to the Success Partner Podcast. I am your host, Daya Naef, and today I have Ron Ostroff with me. And I know Ron from several networking groups, including my own Lawyers Happy Hour and the Legal Resource Network. And Ron, I'd just love for you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay, I am with something called NJ Advanced Media, which is part of Advanced Local, two corporations nobody's ever heard of. Together, Advanced Local is one of, if not the largest privately held media group in the United States. There are newspapers, news websites. There's the Condé Nast Magazine Group, Vanity Fair, Wired, Bon Appetit, The New Yorker. There's American City Business Journals in 44 communities. There's a big hunk of Reddit, a big hunk of Discovery. But also we're very, very local. And in fact, we're even in Alabama where you are. Yay!
Yay! We're not quite as snowed under as you guys up there. Yeah, very interesting. A lot of magazines and newspapers that I've heard of after you said a marketing company that I hadn't heard of. So thanks for refreshing that.
What I do is I'm an account executive, and my goal, I guess the way I've distilled it is my goal is to help businesses be found. Because if people can't find you, they can't do business with you. So that's really important. Now, everything else is details. So how do you do that? So do you want me to go into a little detail here?
I would love to know how to do that. I am also a business owner who would like to be found. So please tell.
Oh, but before that, full disclosure.
Sure.
I'm also an attorney. Oh. I don't practice anymore. I'm licensed in New Jersey and D.C. I spent most of my life as a journalist, so I love to write. I help clients with writing when necessary. I can edit. And the reason I got into sales is because I ran my own newspaper company for 10 years, and somebody had to learn how to sell, and that was me.
That was you. Yeah. That's what happens when we're small business people. We have to do everything. And I'm also a licensed attorney in Louisiana and Michigan. So we have that in common.
Well, you at least have to learn how to do everything. The key when you're a small business person is to delegate, but not delegate to the point where you don't know what the other person is doing, because then all of a sudden they start holding you hostage. Well, if you fire me, you won't know how to do this, or I'll lock it up with a password, and that's just not good.
No.
So one of the things that's really important in what I do is creating partnerships with potential clients, with clients. The worst client for me is someone that says, here's a boatload of money, get me new customers, get me new clients, see ya. I'm a specialist in marketing. They're an expert in their business. There are things that I can't possibly know about their business unless they tell me. And I'm a really bad guesser. So there have been times when I've told clients, I said, look, you don't have time to talk to me about your business now. I can wait. And they'll say something like, well, don't you want my money? I said, yes, but I want you to get something for it. It's an investment. I want you to get something. I want you to get a return. And that's really important. One of the things that I walk into a lot is businesses that'll say, oh, all of my marketing is by word of mouth. Mm-hmm. Now, word of mouth is a great concept. The idea is that you're going to provide an excellent product or an excellent service. And as a result, the client is going to be so impressed with it, the client is going to tell people about it. And as a result of that, you'll get more business. And it's a great idea. And it happens sometimes. In fact, it happens a lot. The problem that you run into is You never know when the client is going to say something or what they're going to say or if they're going to say anything at all. Now, one of the things a smart marketer needs to do, because you can't hang your hat on somebody maybe doing something. If you're a small business person, let's say you're a solo, or maybe there's just two of you, and maybe you've got an assistant. You have obligations, you have rent, you have utilities, you have that one employee. You probably has families as well. And you can't basically nail that to the idea that somebody may say something that might be positive about you sometime. Mm-hmm. When you say it like that, you realize how crazy it is. Now, I'm not to say that you can't get good clients from word of mouth. You can get wonderful clients. You can get a lot of them. But the key way to market is to put yourself in different channels and to focus on what you want to focus on. So let's say, for example, you're a solo. And let's say you've made the mistake of saying you do everything. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm saying it's a mistake is because you can't specialize in everything. You can't know everything. People want to go in front of someone that has experienced multiple times in key areas. It could be something like tax law. Mm-hmm. It could be where maybe you have a niche in tax law. Well, you want to get the word out about that niche. You want to advertise that so when someone is searching for that particular niche, that they find you. Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example. I have a client who I met through networking. He's a solo. I'm not going to tell you what state he's in. And he does tax law, but he's really specific. Mm-hmm. He does tax protest. He does IRS letters. He's very, very specific about the kinds of things he does. So when we talked, I said, oh, you want to do pay-per-click advertising on Google and Bing. Now, let me explain what that is. Mm-hmm. When you look at a search page, you want to be as high as you can and as many times as you can. Because every time that you're in some place, it means your competition can't be there. Well, on an average page, there are many as 4 positions up top. You don't necessarily have to be up top. You're probably overpaying, but you'd like to be in that top 4 positions. So he had people work with him on pay-per-click advertising. And I think there were 2 or 3 before me, and each one was a failure. And he said, I've done this. It doesn't work. And I said, well, what words did they use? Because the way you work with that is you are selecting keywords that'll be searched for in your geography, in the geography you want. And it doesn't have to be right around your house. It can be wherever you want it to be. So I said, look, why don't you let me make a proposal? Let me come up with keywords. You tell me the geography and let's talk. It's going to cost you nothing. I said, okay. So what I did was I did a completely custom campaign. It dealt with tax protest. It dealt with IRS letters, all sorts of specifics from his website. And his first reaction was, the other guys didn't do this. The other guys just said tax lawyer. I said, well, you're not just a tax lawyer. Mm-hmm. There are lots of things in tax law that you really want nothing to do with. So he said, well, sounds interesting. So what I did was I did an estimate. I said, okay, in your area, if we spent $600 a month, or $625 a month, how much of the potential search volume are you going to get? And it wasn't a high number, but he said, okay. I said, look, it's an annual campaign, but you've got a 90-day opt-out. In 60 days, if you aren't satisfied with the results, give me 30 days written notice and it's done.
That's nice.
So he decided, okay, let's do this. He told me later that he had a letter already written to post to me on day 60. He was sure that this thing was going to go down the drain.
Right.
And within the first month or so, he got enough business to pay for the first couple of months. So when it came to the 90 days, now we were meeting once a month because that's important. I can see certain things. I can see how many people are clicking on an ad. If we have a link to Google Analytics, now called GA4, we can tell you where people have come from to visit your site and what they're doing there. And we can set it up so their goals. Did they click on a form? Did they complete a form? Did they make a phone call? Because we have tracking numbers. And he did really well. So he just said, okay, I guess we're going to continue.
That's awesome.
Well, go fast forward.
Yeah.
And every time we talked, he said, well, I'm getting more business. And well, can we add to the budget? Well, in the last 18 months, we have more than doubled his budget. And he's still getting calls on a regular basis. He's still getting high quality clients. The key is that, yes, he could use word of mouth, but people are searching for you. They've got a mouse in one hand, they've got dollars in the other. If you are not there, they're going to give their money to somebody else. It's that simple. So, then there are the other people that say, well, I've got a great website. That should be enough. Mm-mm. A good website is basically like having a beautiful building downtown, except you've taken down your sign, you've closed the drapes, and you've got an unlisted number. That's your website. Yeah. Now, obviously, you want a good place for them to land, mm-hmm. but you have to get them there. That's really important. That's why you should be doing advertising in multiple channels. Now, one of the other things that you can do, there's something called search engine optimization. A lot of people will say, oh, it's just content. No, content is important, but it's also coding. The coding determines when your listing is put up, even organically, what comes up. If you do it the wrong way, it's sort of like clearing your throat. The listing never gets to the point. The other thing also that you do with search engine optimization is directories online, directories all over the internet. And the way it works is there's something called NAP data, name, address, and phone number. Now, let's say you've just moved recently. Well, there are a whole lot of directories. There are tens of thousands of them, and they probably all have the wrong information. Mm-hmm. Now, what you need to do is with search engine optimization, we go in there and we take, let's say, 20 or 30 key directories and we put the correct information in and it propagates over the others. Now, the way things work, it's got to be precise. So if you live at 123 Success Road in Birmingham, Alabama, if you abbreviate road in one place or you abbreviate Alabama, all of a sudden Google says that's a different place. It's a different listing. Well, then you say, okay, I can do it myself. One weekend I'll go in and I'll take the 50 directories. Well, what happens is Google goes, oh, must be a robot. And then they penalize you for that. So the key thing of this is the key thing of having a small practice. You have to think about the things that only you can do best. Those should be the things that you do. Anything else, like building a website and creating your ads, these are all things that take away from the thing you really want to do, which is your practice, and the thing that's even more important than that, which is your family. So the question is, if you have children, what should you be doing? Should you be playing with your website or playing with your kids? I don't think there's a question here.
Not a question there.
So when we talk about word of mouth, all of these things contribute. Everything you do contributes to someone coming through your door or entering your website or making that phone call. So in other words, if you say, oh, well, wait a second, there's this... I'm helping people with, let's say, sports injuries. Okay, so there are these major sports facilities. I'm going to put a billboard right outside. So after they break something, they'll see my sign. That's great. But that can't be the only thing you do. So doing search engine marketing, those pay-per-click ads on Google and Bing, that's important. Another thing is also the content of your website, because the way search engine marketing works, the way that pay-per-click works, it's a constant bidding. So you're bidding for your words in your geography. And guess what? The highest bid doesn't always win. The reason it doesn't win is because Google's going after who's going to provide the best experience. So let's say, for example, we'll do the sports injuries. Yeah. And let's say you specialize in sports injuries because of bad conditions, whatever it is. If you send them to your homepage that has nothing to do with that, not a good experience. Mm-hmm. If you send them to a services page where you list the 20 things that you do, not a good experience. But if I send them to, hey, by the way, I specialize in sports injuries, then Google's going to say, all right, I know he bid lower, but he's going to give people a better experience, so I'm going to let him win the bid. And this is happening very quickly. It's happening almost in a microsecond. So it's really important that your website be user-friendly. You want people to be able to convert. You want people to get the answers which they're searching for. Now, another way to do that is really to think about what Google and the other search engines are. They're really simple. This is a mechanism that allows you to ask a question, and the search engine is going after the most specific answer. Okay. So in other words, if you have pages, let's say blog items or specific pages that answer those questions, these are answers waiting for somebody to ask the question. So let's say, for example, I was talking to a funeral home director, and he was talking about that he has a lot of clients from the Ukrainian community. Okay. So if he can create a page that deals with the customs of the Ukrainian community, mm-hmm. when someone, and it's the volume is not going to be very big, but when someone asks about that, Google's going to go, well, who has the answer? Well, he does. That's going to come up, and they're going to go to his page. Mm-hmm. So that's the way you have to look at it. So all of this together, you do billboards, you do search engine marketing, you do display ads targeting your the people you want to do business with. You go to networking events, online and in person. You help other people. All of this adds up that your name is out there as somebody that people want to know, want to like, and want to trust. And then when somebody says, oh, yeah, you're looking for this kind of attorney, you should try my guy. Oh, yeah, right. I read an article about him, or I went to his website, or I saw a bunch of ads. You have to get multiple contacts for someone to take an action. It just doesn't take one. People sometimes estimate it takes as many as 12. So the idea that you're just going to concentrate and rely on one person maybe saying something that you're not sure of at some undetermined time in the future doesn't sound like a great business plan. No. Did I answer your question?
That's great, Ron. And someone told me recently to put FAQs on my website, and that might be one of the reasons why. It's like if people are searching for that, answering that question, then now I have it answered. And thank you for explaining a lot of like the pay-per-click things, because people always talk about it, but you actually explained it in a way that it's like, okay, that's how that works, and that's why people get results. Some people get results and other people do not get results.
Well, you got to be specific. You have to know. That's why it has to be a partnership. Mm-hmm. If I'm talking to you as an attorney, I need to know who you want to go after. Now, notice I said I didn't want to talk about who your current clients are, because your current clients may be not the best ones for you. Mm-hmm. Let's say, for example, you do landlord-tenant, you also do personal injury. maybe the landlord-tenant work is bringing in more money to your practice. So maybe that isn't the majority of your practice now, but it's very lucrative. So maybe you want to go after the lucrative. Now, there may be cases where, you really, really like a certain area of law and you'd really like to do that. But that's sort of like, yeah, I do it because I like it, not because it feeds me. Mm-hmm. We can search for that too. Now, the other thing that's really important is, like I said, delegating. You have to do that. You have to get smart people you trust, to do work for you. Now, there are a lot of lawyers who are control freaks, okay? It's just part of the deal. And if you're looking for someone that's going to do something exactly the way you would do it, then you're never going to delegate anything. However, one of the things you need to really, really understand is there are probably 20 different correct ways of doing something that'll be just fine. It may not be the way you would do it, but they'll still be good for you and good for your practice. And best of all, one more thing you don't have to do.
Makes sense.
Now, we were talking about other channels. There's something called TrueView Video, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. Now, you understand that that video is basically just really, really important. For example, let's say you're listening, you want to go listen to a movie preview. And so you go on a Google player and there's this annoying pre-roll. It's so annoying, you can't stop hitting the click button. Well, we sell those annoying pre-rolls. The reason they're annoying is because it's not properly targeted. Let's set up another scenario. You've just gone to the home of an elderly relative. You notice you can't get up the stairs. Now you go home. You want to watch that movie preview on a Google player, and all of a sudden there's a preview for stair lifts. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden, it's not annoying because it's targeted. It's targeted to seniors and their adult children. And the way this works, it's kind of cool, is you provide a video or you get photos and you get words and we create a slideshow, and that becomes the pre-roll. If they get to the 30-second mark, what happens is we deduct between 25 and 27 cents from the account we hold for you per view. And then it goes to the website. Now, there's a workaround. There is always a workaround.
Okay.
So what you can do is you can create that video or video slideshow that has all the key information in the first 10 seconds. As a result, they never get to the end. They go to your website and it costs you nothing and you get to play another day. Now, the other thing is with optimization, we've gotten these down as low as 6 cents per view. But the way it works is you have so many lawyers that are advertising on cable. And the cable guy is going to tell you, well, we think the people you're looking for are advertising on this channel at about this time. Mm-hmm. And notice, we think.
We think.
Okay. What TrueView does, TrueView is on YouTube. YouTube is part of Google. So what TrueView does is use Google's algorithms to get you in front of the people you want to get in front of. So let's say, for example, you're that stair lift company. And let's say, for example, you only cover 2 counties in Texas. All right? They'll get you in front of seniors and their adult children in those 2 counties in Texas. That's it. I'm in Edison, New Jersey. I will never see your ad unless I happen to be driving through those 2 counties in Texas. Then if I happen to stop, I happen to look at a Google player, there's a chance your ad might come up because now it sees, 2 counties in Texas, seniors or adult children. Perfect. So that's really, really important. Now, the other thing that you can do, talk about targeting. You have competition. We can take between 5 and 10 websites of your competition, and we can say, all right, let's say those 2 counties in Texas, of any of those people visit those 5 to 10 competitors, the next time they go to a Google player, there is a good chance that your pre-roll will come up. So I know it sounds evil, but it's good.
No, I like it. No, I like it.
You're able to target your competitors.
That's awesome.
There's other things that you can do. Now, all of this is to get in front of the right people. Mm-hmm. The last people you want in that scenario, or even in the scenario as a lawyer, is you don't want to get in front of the 14-year-old sitting in his underwear in his basement, playing with his Star Wars figurines. That's not your audience. He's not going to see this. One of the things that you can do, people will say, okay, I market by using my organic postings on Facebook and on Instagram. And that's a good thing to do. You should be active on social media, especially LinkedIn.
Okay.
But here's the problem. Only about 6% of the people you're connected to actually see what you post. So you've got 94% that don't. Now, you can buy ads on Facebook. You can buy ads on Instagram. The problem is that there are a lot of requirements. Let's say you're in the health field. All of a sudden, they're trying to protect people. Do you have this certain membership? Did you say this certain thing? You can't say that. Then you get just to the graphic look of it. Okay, you can only have a certain number of characters in a certain place. You can only have a video that's measured this way. What we can do, and what a lot of people can do, is we can do something called social display. We can take a post from Facebook, from Instagram, an organic post, even a video, and we can put it within stories on the Google Display Network. Now, the Google Display Network is a network of tens of thousands upon thousands of websites all around the internet. And what we can do is, once again, we can target it by geography, and we can target it by demographics. So let's say, for example, you're doing personal injury and you want to do a certain area. Their demographics might not be the best thing for you because everybody can get hurt. How many people don't know anybody who's fallen down the stairs? But once again, you can have this video that talks about, here's what we do. Here's how we do it. Here's what makes us special. And you can change the creative as often as every 2 weeks. There's another thing that's important. It's called sponsored content.
Okay.
This is basically an article in an ad space. And this can be placed all around the internet. It can be placed on the Google Display Network. And once again, with this, you can target by geography.
Okay. What
this is an opportunity for you to explain something you do. So let's say, for example, you're explaining, let's say you're a family lawyer. And one of the things you want to explain is, oh, yes, you're getting divorced, but you still like your spouse. And why go to the expense of having 2 lawyers? Well, you might write an article that says, or have someone interview you for an article that says, here's why you need 2 lawyers. Here's why it's really smart and down the line can actually save you money and aggravation. Mm-hmm. And those kinds of things are important. Now, sponsored content is looked at as an ad. So the search engines will not search it. It's not searchable from the search engines. But once again, there's a workaround. There always is. You can take sponsored content and take the words out of it and put it as text on your website. Now, all of a sudden, it's website content, and that's searchable.
Oh, wow.
The other thing that you ought to be doing when you do sponsored content is you want to take the link and you want to post it on LinkedIn. Now, once again, you also want to post it on Facebook. You want to post it on Instagram. And you want to send it out to everybody on your email list. Hey, look, there was an article on the internet that was, we were featured. Here it is. But since you know that only about 6% of your contacts actually see it, what you want to do is you and everybody in your organization, if you can send it out to 5 individuals a day within that platform, within either LinkedIn or within Facebook or within Instagram, saying, hey, look, I was featured here. Please read it, comment on it, and share it.
Okay.
And about half of them will. So even if you have 2 people in your firm, you're doing 10 people a day, and let's say you're not working weekends, you've now sent it out to 50 people in 1 week, and half of them are going to share it with other people.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's really, really important.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is different channels. You definitely want to get in front of people different ways so that when they hear your name or when they have a need for your services, you're top of mind.
That's awesome, Ron. Thank you. You've given us a lot of great content today and answered a lot of questions that I know we all had. How do we find you? How do we get in touch with you?
Okay, a couple of ways. One thing that I have something called a virtual business card. Oh. And if you go to, let's see, if you go to 21,000, if you put a text message in, and the address should be 21000, 21,000, and you put in the words ADS, you'll get my virtual business card. But the way to find me is my email address is R-Ostroff, OSTROFF, at NJAdvance, ADVANCE, media.com. My phone number is 973-820-3170. So you can call me anytime you want. If I have my phone near me, I'm going to pick it up. I'm not one of these people that goes, oh, it's 502, sorry.
Yeah, you don't.
And also, they can talk to you, and you'll give them information.
Absolutely, it will be in the show notes. You'll be able to scroll down and click. We're on YouTube and Spotify, and many other channels coming soon. So, thank you everybody again to listening to our episode of the Success Partner Podcast. I'm Daya Naef, your host, and today we had Ron Ostroff as our guest. So, thank you, Ron.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us on the Success Partner Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation and found some valuable takeaways to apply to your own business journey. Remember,